Hey guys, Bryce Tubbs here. Today I want to talk about 3 keys to an indestructible business. So got my little note over here, so I'll be looking both places. But I just want to come to you. So today I've been really, in my coats, I just got home from a drive and I was really inspired because I was like, man, there are a couple different things that I'm working with some of my students in my mentorship program about, and how to make their businesses secure no matter what happens, right? Because there's a lot of fear kind of going on in the marketplace, especially as like some people say that we are entering a recession or going to go into a recession. To be honest with you, in a lot of cases, we are kind of in a recessionary period. Now, the one thing people don't really understand is recessionary period does not mean that you cannot grow a business, right? When we had that thing in 2020, that was a little bit different. It was a recession, but it was more of an event that was very hard for, a lot of businesses to either stay open or do things. But generally when it comes to a recession, it's a very misunderstood time. So I want to kind of come to you, encourage you, make sure you know that you can actually do this. So we started our firm back in 2015, and, we've grown to about the 6-figure level. It took about 15 months to hit our first $15,000 a month inside of our accounting firm. Now, inside of these videos, like, why are we making these videos? We make these videos for 2 reasons. Number one is because, I remember when I was first getting started, there wasn't a lot of content around this, right? There was like a couple like blog posts, and there was just a bunch of like generalized information on the internet, but it wasn't really specialized towards how to grow an accounting firm, how to grow a bookkeeping practice. Everyone just told us like go to networking events or pass out like business cards and like postcards and stuff, but that didn't really work for me. So I had to go down this rabbit hole of buying courses, coaching programs, mentorships, seminars, a lot of different things in order to learn a lot of the skills that I'm sharing for free in this channel. Now, for some of you, like maybe you don't want to watch a number of videos. Maybe you just want like the fast path success. In that case, we do have our private mentorship program. Now, that is not for everyone. We do not make invitations to people if we do not think we can help them, or if we don't think it's a good fit. So if you want to see, maybe watch some of the videos and you know that maybe you could be utilizing some help. Maybe that you're trying to get your goals, but you're not quite reaching as fast as what you want to, or what you could if you had some assistance and if you had some help. So if that's you, go ahead and click on a link inside the description, inside of the description either above or below the video. Book a call with us, see if it's a good fit. If it's not, we're going to let you know, because we're only taking on good fits at this moment in time. We get a pretty good amount of calls, so we're just making sure that, hey, the people we bring in are either going to be transformed or they have the potential to really, do some great things. So if that's you, we'd love to see you inside the program. If you're not quite ready for that, that's okay. So let's jump into this thing. So 3 keys. Number 1, any activity you do needs to be about how to move the business faster. An analogy I always like to think about is kind of like a race car. So imagine that you're, a Formula 1 driver, and you have this just piece of just like metal, right? And the one thing they do first is they're removing anything that might slow them down. So that's any like limiting beliefs, that's any kind of like bad habits, that's any kind of like time management. Like the first thing you do is you have to get really foundationally strong, right? You have to make sure you're either operating with the right operating system, you have the same beliefs, you have the things that are necessary in order to grow. Like for example, for me, one thing that I had to do was, like I talked about, I spent a lot of money on courses, right? The first thing I had to do was kind of drop the DIY mentality where I thought I could do everything myself, right? So what that led to was me, number 1, not even paying for like a website. That was me not paying for contractors. That was me not paying for coaching. Like I just didn't want to pay for anything when I first got started, because I was like, I can do this myself. If you can, do it for free, why pay someone? That was wrong. That led to me doing about 6 months of me struggling and really not going and getting a client, right? As soon as I started investing in stuff, I started getting the right coaching programs. And that's not to say every single coaching program I did, was successful at first. Some of them, like I bought a coaching program and like the stuff I learned inside of it was more applicable like a year from now or 2 years after, like, I did it. But that was the first thing, was change my mindset. Now the second thing, whenever they're building a race car, right, is they're looking at things they can add onto the car to either make it more aerodynamic or make it move much faster. The point of that is every activity you do inside of your business should make it easier to go and hit your baseline goals at the end of every single year. So one thing I hear a lot of people say is like, I had this one gentleman, he joined our mentorship program, and he said he wanted to do about $300,000 per year. And he said, that's kind of silly. I was like, why do you feel that it's silly? And he goes, well, I have no clients, I've never done this, I've never done this. I was like, well, it's only silly because number one, you don't think in terms of assets. You're thinking in terms of like just getting clients. What that basically means is like, where am I going to find my next client? How am I going to get my next client? Instead, what really successful business owners think is like, what assets can I use inside of my business to make it easier to get clients month after month after month? So we'll talk a little bit more about some of those. I think I'd probably go into a little bit of detail. Okay, because that was going to be step number 3. We'll do that. I'll go there. So, okay, so in terms of assets, you need to be thinking in terms of like chess and not just getting your next client. So for example, one of our students, his name is Usman, right? And he works with IT consultants is his main niche. Now, that's not the best niche for everyone. Like, there are other niches that can afford to pay more just based on that, right? But for him, what he's noticing that every single client he gets gives about 1 to 3 referrals over the course of 3 years. So it was just like, oh, interesting. Okay, so how often do you actually ask your clients for referrals? And he said, I've probably never asked my clients for referrals. And when I asked him why, he just never thought about it, right? So one asset you can have inside of your business is your onboarding process, but then also your client retention process can actually be used as more of like a referral kind of lever, right? So for example, you can actually make either video content or webinars or presentations that you send to people as they get like different wins or different things inside of their business as a result of working with you that can actually encourage them to start sending you referrals. You can also do this every single time you send an email. You can actually have it inside of your email signature that you're looking for referrals, and even have like a form where they can fill out if they know someone who's looking for it, so you can actually go and contact the person who is looking for the help, right? There's a lot of different miniature things you can do inside of that and make it actually a process that every single time that a client starts working with you, you know they're going to hit a standard set of either milestones or metrics that are going to make them feel really happy, right? So then actually one of your assets is every time you get a client, making sure they're so happy and they understand exactly like who they refer and how they should refer people to you, that you start getting referrals, right? So when he came to me, he was like, I'm only getting, 1 client a month from this thing. So, okay, cool. So you're getting 1 client a month from that. So all we have to do basically is, number 1, realize that your 1 client actually turns into 4 total, right? That's the 1 client plus the 3 referrals. That's 4 clients total. Okay, so how about this? Why don't we focus on just, instead of trying to go and get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 clients on the front end, right, before they pay you, and on the first sale, why don't we focus on maybe doubling. Number 1, let's double your price point. Number 2, let's see if we can then, instead of getting 1 client every month, let's see if we can get 2 clients on the front end. So rather than charging $1,000 a month, let's charge each client $2,000 per month, and let's try and get 2 of them. Okay, so now at first you were, charging $1,000 a month. Okay, so now instead you're going to start getting 2 clients who are paying you, $2,000 per month each. That's $4,000 in total that you're going to be getting every single month from that. But then you know that in addition to those 2 clients, you're actually going to end up with about 8 total clients. So 1 plus 3, that's 4 plus 4, 8 total clients. Okay, that makes your business a lot more sustainable. Now, for the average person, that's not probably what most people are trying to do. Most people are trying to get to like, 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 a month. This particular client is trying to get to $100,000 per month, right? He's trying to become a millionaire. Now, I'm not saying you have to become a millionaire, right? What I'm saying is that there are pieces that you need to be thinking about in order to grow your business. Another type of piece that you can have is actually partnerships. So whenever I'm thinking of partnerships, right, I love partnerships. The reason why is because they essentially become your sales team, and as they're doing things to grow their business, it makes it so much easier, because then you just get referrals. You just get people calling you, and then they actually want to work with you. They want to give you their money. They trust you. It's so much easier than a lot of other things, right? Now, key thing here is not every single partner is created equally, right? Some people, if they're like a bookkeeper, they just think, I'm just going to go after every CPA in town, and then they're going to give me like leads and referrals. I mean, that sometimes works, but everyone's kind of doing that, right? So you have to either go and find different types of partnerships or you have to start thinking about outside the box about how you're going to contact ones that are more competitive, like CPAs, who every bookkeeper and their mom is trying to go and reach out to. Now, for example, if you want help learning how to make partnerships, I actually created a book a book basically about, it's called Six Figure Partnerships. What it does, it shows you how to get your first or your next six-figure partnership. It tells you exactly who to identify, what makes a good partner, what makes a bad partner, how to go about contacting them, making it very easy. Now, I have a special price for the book. Generally, it's about $21.99, but if you're watching either in my Facebook group, my YouTube channel, or my LinkedIn, or even my Instagram, depending on where you're seeing this, we have a special price for $4.99. I don't know exactly how much longer I'm going to keep the price like that because, it took me a long time to make that book. There's a lot of stuff inside of that. But I just wanted to make something where it's very accessible for people, especially if they're watching my content. So if you want that, comment 6FP below inside of the comment section. Either myself or my assistant will actually send you a copy when we get a chance. Now, a good example of someone who uses partnerships is one of my students named Jack. Now, when he came to me, he was doing about $1,500 per month inside of his business. So the first thing we started doing with him was, number one, learning how to utilize LinkedIn to start getting clients. But then what I started noticing was he's very, very, very good at getting partners and getting people to subcontract work and just getting people to really like him and actually want to help him. So we initially switched that, instead of just going straight after clients, to, okay, let's utilize LinkedIn to start going and getting partnerships, okay? So now these partnerships started giving him clients, they started referring him to other partners, they started referring him to other CPA firms, he started getting subcontracting. He's at about $43,000 per month inside of his business right now, right? He lives inside of the Philippines, so he's not even American. So some people Americans, it's just very interesting. So if he could do it, not being inside the country, not being able to network with people in person, not really being able to utilize people who are inside the same state. If you're watching inside the United States, you have a full-time job, you have, time to actually work this thing, you have stability, you're in a really good state where people actually are, friendly and open. There's really no reason why you can't go and grow the business as well. So the first thing we have to think about is, okay, assets, partnerships, and then once you get the client, how are you maintaining that client relationship and strengthen that relationship so that they start sending you referrals? Okay, that's the main key with that one. Now, the third thing that I've really focused on, especially over the last 2 to 3 years, is whenever you're hiring a contractor, especially a sales rep, only plug them into systems that are already working. So i.e. clients that have been successfully onboarded, sales campaigns, outreach campaigns. What that means is when I was starting, especially when I would try and get an outreach team or a sales team or a marketing team, I would always try and have them go create a new system. Okay, so for example, let's say, okay, I wanted them to learn how to do email marketing, right? Now that would kind of crash and burn because they didn't really have a lot of specialty within that, right? So it would take a lot of my time because I would have to look into it, think about how to write the emails, I have to learn about email deliverability, I have to learn about all these different things, which is good, when you're starting. But if I could go back in time, what I would think is, okay, if I ever have anything that works, so for example, learning how to utilize LinkedIn, just have your either contractor, sales rep, VA, whatever you're going to do, replicate, first clone yourself in that existing process and system, and then you can actually double, okay? So nowadays, what I generally do, especially we'll talk about my outreach team, then we'll talk about my staff accountant team. We'll talk about what I look for in both of those. Is number one, for my outreach team, first, my profiles on LinkedIn are very, very strong. It gets a lot of people. It's kind of interesting, right? Because every time I make a video about my mentorship program, I actually get someone who wants to work with my accounting firm reaching out. It's very, very interesting to me how it's both of these businesses are so symbiotic. It's really one business. It's just some people think of it as two, a mentorship program and an accounting firm, but it's really one. But just kind of side tangent. So that's another reason why I make these videos, breaking the fourth wall. But so first we had our profile, right? And then what I started doing was I started hiring people, either Americans, people from the Philippines, people from India, I have 2 from Africa. So I have one from I think Nairobi, and then one from Nigeria. But once I had my profile, I basically just had, we call it horizontal scaling. So Bryce has profile A, then I clone that and basically have another person who, is basically, they have their own face, they're themselves, but they're basically just doing the same outreach, they're doing the same content, and they're just sharing it. Then I multiply it again, then again, then again, then again, right? And it's just it's very interesting to see how it's the results are the same and the outreach and the KPI are actually the same across those profiles. In a lot of cases, it's actually easier for my virtual assistant to book calls because that's really all that, he, they, she does, right? And when I say virtual assistant, I always say virtual assistant as like a singular, but it's really like I have like 5 assistants. They're not really assistants. 2 of them are assistants. 3 of them are more of like outreach kind of people, but they came to me as like a virtual assistant. I just had to train them in that. So it's actually easier for them to go and book calls because they can actually specialize and start getting really good. They understand the timing, they understand the flow, they understand like how to outreach, they understand like how to connect with people, they understand how to build that relationship. It's just so much easier, right? And like I never thought to do that. I thought everything had to be me. I thought that, you know, a virtual assistant had to manage my profile, post my content, do everything, and basically be my face. And it wasn't until like, you know, I started really experimenting with like advertising on like Facebook, where you just started getting so many leads. My profiles I just couldn't respond to all the demand, that we started seeing that, oh wow, this is actually pretty simple to do. So nowadays, what I'm starting to do, probably over the next year, is I'm looking for about 12 virtual assistants to kind of come onto my team. Now, I'll talk about how we look for them. So let's kind of, what do I look for in a contractor? So there's 3 really different mind frames when I'm hiring. Number 1 is going to be like a staff accountant, right? Number 2 is just a generalized virtual assistant, does like a lot of admin work and like process kind of work and like creative work. Then number 3 is going to be more of an outreach team. Okay, so when I'm looking for a staff accountant, I'm looking for trustworthy, prompt, attention to detail, calm and collected. Okay, I cannot stress calm and collected. There's nothing worse than having a spazzy kind of like staff accountant or someone who's doing like bookkeeping work, like the lower level bookkeeping work, right? And the reason why I say this is because, number 1, if they're doing any kind of client-facing work, you want them to be able to like just reassure the client that everything is going well, things are moving correctly, versus if they're kind of spazzing, they're always texting like, oh my gosh, I can't figure this thing out. Oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, it just kind of messes with your energy and messes with your day and makes it harder for you to kind of grow, because then you're constantly sucked back into the work. Versus when you have someone who's like trustworthy, prompt, attention details, calm and collected, if they're calm and collected, they can think rationally enough to go and find the solutions. Now, one thing you can do to kind of help some of your staff accountants actually go and like build out like a handbook or like an SOPs. I have like I have 2 handbooks. So I have like one for my accounting firm and then like one for like my mentorship program. They're very, very in depth. We're actually transitioning it over to a program called like Notion. It's just an easier way to kind of like contain data, because these are long Google documents right now. Like they could probably be a course in itself. Like I could probably sell another course on like how someone can become like a mentor or like do like a coaching program with how much information we have there, and train their whole team, take them about like anywhere between like 30 to 50 grand a month just in their coaching business alone. So all I have to say is, you know, that's kind of the level of information you need when you start bringing on a team member. If you don't have a team member yet, I would probably wait until like you absolutely like start needing it. Unless you know that your goal is to get to 20 grand a month or 30 grand a month right away. Okay, that's what I'd be kind of thinking. If your goal is just to hit like, you know, 7 grand, 12 grand a month, you can generally do that on your own, even while taking sales calls, doing some of like the outreach we teach inside of our program, doing some of the marketing, the partnerships we teach inside of our program, and then doing the work yourself. To be honest with you. But if you know from the start, like, hey, I'm gonna hit like 50 grand a month, right? You generally would need to start building the business and building the team out first, so that you don't have to slow down. In terms of which one I would actually hire first, it kind of depends on your personality. My personality is I like sales and marketing more than I like accounting and bookkeeping, so I outsource that first, right? Now, some people, if you like doing the accounting work, then you would outsource like the marketing aspect. And that's a big reason why we do partnerships, because it's really outsourcing a lot of the marketing aspect to somebody else, because they're bringing the leads to you. Now, I know that a lot of the students that join the program, like, they like doing the accounting work. They like accounting. They like, you know, bookkeeping. They like CFO level work. So they want to do the work as long as possible with the leads kind of coming in. That's how we do those partnerships. But when I'm looking for an outreach team kind of person, actually, when I'm looking for a VA I'm looking for, and again, attention to details. I'm looking for a little bit of creativity. I'm looking for someone who doesn't necessarily need me to kind of make decisions. They can go and at least utilize the resources they have, or even the internet, to kind of learn different tasks that maybe I just have not made a video or training module on inside of my my onboarding process for my team, right? They can figure things out for themselves. They don't really bother me, if that makes sense. And when I say bother, it's like, I'll tell you about like the next outreach team, and like you'll kind of see the difference. But my virtual assistants, like they're so good that some of my virtual assistants, I used to talk to like one twice a month maybe, right? Because she would just be doing everything so well and have everything organized, and our process was just so great that it's just like she could just figure things out, like, and she would just be like creating different things before I even knew that I needed them, and it was just like, oh wow, this is awesome, right? The next group of people would be the outreach team, okay? I consider these people spazzes. S-P-A-Z-Z. To the nicest, most like affectionate term possible. They are a spaz, okay? High energy, persistent, ADHD, like they're just attacking constantly attacking. Now they're going after potential clients. They're following up with potential clients. They're following up with me to see if I follow up with potential clients, see if they're working with me. And it's just like this tornado of just activity and energy, okay? I love outreach team members. Now, they're a little bit different. They're going to be talking to you every single day. They're going to be messaging. They're going to say, hey, I sent you this lead. How did the person go? Did the person answer the phone? Do they respond? How much they know about you? Do they do this? Do they do it? Like, it's just a constant kind of punchy, kicky, just, it's like hunger, it's like persistence, it's like being proactive. Like, those are the team members you're really looking for, right? But every single one of those 3 different types of team members is going to come with different challenges, different things. And that's why I said before, it's like, you want to make sure that you're plugging them into systems that already are working. So for example, for your staff accountant, if you don't really know the skill set of your staff accountant, I would first give them a lot of like tests when you're onboarding them. Just make sure they're training to a certain level, start asking them great questions. But then I would actually start onboarding them with your monthly work first, not your cleanup work first. The reason why is because oftentimes if you're doing a cleanup and your cleanup is going to lead to your monthly, which if you don't know how to do that, if you're consistently getting like one-off projects, you don't know how to move them to monthly, book a call, see if we can help you out. That's a really big specialty of ours, right? Making sure that when you do the cleanup, like that's your first impression. So you either want to have a staff accountant you trust very heavily, or if you have a newer staff accountant do it, you want to make sure you're overviewing the work and just making sure that's done very well. So I prefer to have my newer staff accountants do the monthly work first. Then I can see how they work, I can see their attention to detail, I can see their promptness, I can see kind of their communication with the client, I can view a lot of things a lot easier, and then I can give them more, more tough work like cleanups, that it's a lot more communication needed, a lot more promptness, in a lot of cases there's more of a deadline, it's just, there's more at stake when it comes to a cleanup. So over time, after they gain that trust, after they earn that trust, now they can start doing stuff like that. Now, when it comes to an outreach team, okay? Outreach team, I kind of have this like kind of revolving door kind of thing, is like thought process in my mind. A lot of people, they're kind of afraid that when you bring on a new contractor, if you either give them too much or you tell them too much, is the chance that they're going to leave. So what I started doing was, because like I would have like either like a sales rep or even like an outreach team that would get there and they just wouldn't be a good fit and they would just kind of leave. And I was like putting all this time into like, making spreadsheets for them, giving them like leads that they should be reaching out to, giving them like I spent like time actually like sitting there talking to them on like Zoom, like training them how to do it. And then one day it just kind of clicked with me. It's like, there are certain ones that already have the skill set of how to go and like outreach to people, book calls, get qualified leads to come in the door. So rather than train people from scratch, why don't I just find people that have the characteristics of someone who's successful as an appointment setter or as like, an outreach kind of person. And then from there, let them start building their own systems. And once they've proven themselves, then I put more time inside of it, right? Because any time that a person has either gotten a client or they have like a monthly, whether it's for like the accounting firm, they've gotten a client, or the mentorship program and they've like brought in a client, they generally stay for a long time period, especially if it's like someone from like the Philippines, India, even Africa to a certain degree. Africa is a little bit tough because like the connection issues are a little bit challenging depending on like where the person is located. That's not all of Africa, but that's just certain places. But those are the ones that stick around. So what I started doing was I would hire very quickly. So like I'll bring on like 2 or 3 different VA or outreach kind of appointment setters at a time, I have like a really detailed kind of training that guess who made it? I didn't even make it. I had one of my good appointment setters make the training, just like record what she was doing on a daily basis, talk about the message scripts, why she says it, how she goes and finds leads, where she goes, just does everything inside of it. And then I just put it inside of like a Google document. So whenever a new person comes on, we add them to, we do like Slack. Slack is kind of our inter-team kind of communication channel. And then immediately we have like an automated onboarding kind of like process that when the appointment setter comes on board, it's automatically there. So it's like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, watch this video, this video, this video, this video, this is how you go and do this, is how you, like, just boom. It's like 8 or 9 steps, 8 or 9 different like steps inside of it. And then it's just like, okay, I basically ignore them. I basically ignore them. And it's like, if I tell them, like, going into it, you have a 2 to 4 week kind of probationary period. It depends who it is. Like, if I don't really, like, kind of like the person out, it's a shorter, kind of like 2 week window. Or if I do, it's like a 4 week, right? I'm shortening that time frame because, like, what used to happen was I used to be, like, really driven by the person's personality. And then if I like the person's personality, I would let them, like, just get a lot more of a grace period than what they probably should have gotten. Nowadays, I tell them up front, it's like 2 weeks. Like, I don't care if, like, you know, if something happened, I don't care. 2 weeks to either deliver a result or don't deliver a result. If you don't deliver a result, we're going to pay you for the first 15-day pay cycle, but then you're kind of out of here, to be honest with you. And that's really actually been working super, super great, because if it's someone who's already trained in appointment setting and you're not really training them, you're just more showing them how what your message sequence is, what your brand is about, they can just plug their existing skill set into it. And then if they're kind of like, you can kind of tell who's going to be a really good appointment setter based on the way they message you. So, for example, one thing I do is, like, I will go and post inside of like a Facebook group or even on my Facebook profile, asking someone to, if like, who can, like, you know, work for my team for X amount of capacity. And then, like, I give them, like, you know, 3 different things. I'll say, like, okay, so, you know, I want you to like this post. I want you to add me as a friend. I also want you to comment this code down below. And then when you send a message, comment this thing below. Okay, so that's 4 different things. Why am I doing 4 different things? Number 1, because if they don't like the post doesn't get seen by as many people. Number 2, if they send me a friend request, that means that we can actually message each other. We don't have to, like, go back and forth for weeks waiting for them to see my message. Number 3, if they can follow that instruction with commenting that one code inside of the comment, okay, I know they actually read the post. That's important because I want them to read my onboarding stuff. Then number 4, when they actually go and message me, they have to message me the second code because I want to make sure they follow directions, okay? I cannot even tell you how many people, especially when you're going inside of, like, some of these different, like, groups for virtual assistants or for appointment setters, do not follow directions. They immediately eliminate themselves from the pool. So I'm, like, avoiding so many people who pretend to be bad hires or bad fits because they don't read, they don't follow directions. It's just yeah. So it's so much easier, right? So if you have these processes in place, and, like, if you don't have these processes, we can always build them. That's what the mentorship program is all about, making sure you don't have to repeat the same mistakes I did, right? Like, I've made so many mistakes when it comes to hiring. Like, there was one time I fired 9 virtual assistants all in one day. Why did I have to fire 9 virtual assistants? Because I didn't need 9 virtual assistants. I was actually unprofitable when I had 9 virtual assistants. That was back when I first got started. I just thought, oh my gosh, I need to have virtual assistants. I'm like a boss now. You know, not only am I working for myself, but I have a team. I have a staff, right? What I've learned now is, like, it's cool to have a team, but you don't want to get a team because it's cool. You want to get a team because it's effective. And that goes back to why you need to have your systems in place. Because, see, so, like, when you look at, like, how I'm talking about it now, right, we have this onboarding system. But that onboarding system was based on something that has worked in the past, repeatedly, over time. I had that one VA who made the training working for me for over a year before we started going and hiring out more outreach team members, right? So you might even see an outreach kind of person from my outreach team reach out to you. Who knows? But, yeah. Yes, so after they do that, after they follow the instructions, there's 2 things I do. Number 1, I'll respond to them, and then I'll ignore them. Now, I'll ignore them for a couple weeks. I want to see if they follow up with me. if they don't follow up, they're generally not going to be good at appointment setting because, you know, things happen in life. Sometimes you might send a giant, like, construction business owner a message and they don't actually check it until, like, the next day, right? Because they're in the field all day. Maybe, you know, you might send something to, like, a veterinarian, but they're, you know, helping animals all day and they don't see it. So to be able to actually follow up with a person is very important. Now, another thing that happens is when they follow up with you, like, you just kind of get this, like, just kind of, like, spazzy attack energy. It's like, message 1, message 2, message 3. And it's not that they're sending, like a bunch of spam. It's like they're doing short, quick sentences that are sending you all these notifications. Like, you have 4 notifications from the same person in a 5-minute period. It gets their messages read. And it's just, that's the person. Now, the personality of the person can be a little bit overwhelming in some cases, especially can backfire if they're doing that to you. So you have to kind of set clear boundaries and expectations that, you know, when do you respond to your virtual assistants? What is the criteria for them to, like, reach you on, like, I use Facebook Messenger for my outreach team for, like, up to the minute kind of information, but then to answer questions, we have Slack. Okay. Now the reason why I do that is because, like, sometimes your outreach team might need you to either hop on a call, they might, you know, need your help, they might make a group chat with you, right? So to be able to have that kind of, like, up to the moment connection on Facebook Messenger is really cool. But then for everything else that's not very urgent, we have them basically messaging us inside of there. It just makes it a lot easier kind of over time to manage your time, manage your schedule. Now, what this does though is it just gives you a lot of time. Like, all I really do nowadays is I just, like, manage my team. I look at my advertising campaigns. I make content, but then I talk to, like, clients. I talk to new prospective clients as well as, like, current clients, right? Even then, like, I might even stop doing consultation calls. So it's just, like, you know, pretty soon. It really depends because I really like kind of talking to people on consultation calls. Like, it's really about transformation. But I mean, that time might sail. I'm kind of, like, noticing, like, we're kind of getting to the outskirts of kind of where I think we can take it with me doing, you know, consultation calls myself. So I'm going to probably have someone either do the accounting firm consultation calls or my mentorship consultation calls and just see if we can kind of expand like that. I've already started doing that on the accounting side. Like, my controller's been taking a lot more responsibilities for, like, actually doing consultation calls and talking to new clients and stuff, and, like, even making content. Like, I'm having her do a lot of, like, QuickBooks training content because a really easy way that we get clients is by having them first do QuickBooks training. If they feel like they can do it themselves, then we just basically show them that they can't do it themselves because there's just so much stuff they have to learn in order to do it right, and they want to work with us as, like, a monthly client. So that's kind of a new wrinkle that we've been adding. But, you know, over the next couple of months to a year, you might not even see me as much even on, like, this YouTube channel, right? I might have, like, other people doing it. I might have, like, other past students doing it, and just make it a little bit easier, right? Because, again, every single thing you do should make it easier for you to either hit your revenue goals or for you to kind of make income passively. Like I talked about, like, with the outreach team. For me, like, it's, like, number one, I mean, we are selling a recurring service, so I mean, it is kind of easy to have a consistent revenue. But even on, like, across both businesses for, like, one-off services, like, for example, maybe you offer, like, tax planning, maybe you offer, like, tax resolution, maybe you offer tax prep, maybe you offer some form of, like, consulting, but you're selling a consulting package or even a consulting course, right? Oftentimes those are more like one-off services. They don't have to be a one-off service, but it can be a one-off service if you're doing a really good job, right? Making sure that that income is actually level too, right? Because sometimes when you're doing consulting kind of offer, especially let's say you're selling QuickBooks training and you're selling, like, 5 sessions at a time for, like, $100 per session, so $500, right? Every single month, your QuickBooks training side is essentially starting at zero, or you have to either resell the package or you have to find new people to buy the package, or you can get referrals from your current ones to go and get that package sold, right? But it's basically starting at zero. If you have an outreach team and they're bringing the people, even though you're starting at zero, every single month you're going to have X amount of people based on how many messages they're sending out in order to go and hit a goal. So let's say you're trying to go and hit, $2,000 a month worth of QuickBooks training kind of clients, right? You know that if your outreach team sends out, X amount of messages and gets X amount of calls booked and gets X amount of qualified people on the phone, you're going to sign up X amount of people, and then you're going to automatically hit your $2,000 goal, and you can just kind of reverse engineer it. So hopefully that makes sense, but those are the 3 keys to building an indestructible business. Now, once again, if you want some help growing your business, maybe you've been trying for a little while, but it's just not quite going the way that you planned, the way you've hoped, or you know that you could just be moving faster in life to go and reach the goal. If that's you, go ahead and click on the link inside of the description either above or below the video, depending on where you're watching it. book a call with me, see if I can help you. On the call, I'm going to take a look at like, where are you now? Where do you want to go? If I think I can help you out, then I will tell you about what it looks like to work together, make you an offer. You can say, hey, I think it's a good fit right now. If it's not a good fit, that's okay too. We can process the investment over the phone, and then we can get started towards your goal. So if that's you, love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, I'd love to see you inside of the next video. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.